Aussie Racing Cars are making a massive change in our racing category. We've been racing these XJR engines for the last 25 years, and now they have developed the new Yamaha MT-09 3-cylinder engine ready for our category, and they're going to be releasing it and getting it ready to race this year, ready for round 1 at Bathurst. So in this video, we got to go down and test the drive the engine, see what it's like, see how it feels, compare it to this one as well. We've got a stack of information to keep you up to date with what is going on so you guys can follow along closely and enjoy all the action happening out there. I'm Cody McKay. Make sure to like and subscribe to my channel. This video is going to be full of information. Now, first and foremost, before we get too into it, we need to know what the differences of the engines are. Originally, we had these XJR1300 motorbike engines straight out of a Yamaha that we were running. Now going over to the Yamaha 3-cylinder MT-09. Now these engines come out as air-cooled, which we then convert the middle to a water-cooled barrel. They have carburettors onto them. They're quite an old system. These have been around since the 80s, so they're quite an old engine. The new ones, the 3-cylinders, come out with fuel injection. They're water-cooled for the whole way. These engines have a 5-speed gearbox sequential. The other ones have a 6-speed sequential gearbox, so they get another gear on there. So as we can see, a smaller engine compared to the bigger engine, but they have a lot of similarities coming from the same bike, etc. Now, in the sense of power, the MT-09s are pushing out around 120, 130 horsepower, around that bracket. I'm going to use roundabouts because every engine's different. We don't want to get sucked into the YouTube and forums and all that type of stuff saying what is and what isn't. We've torque at about 100 Newton meters of torque. Now, going on to our XJRs though, these things are nearly putting out 150 to 160 horsepower with the latest upgrades that we've been allowed to have. Bigger pistons, higher compression, freedom of timing of the valve train as well. So that has really unleashed another 20 to 30 horsepower out of these engines. And when it comes to torque, these are up really torquey, nearly 140 Newton meters of torque as well. So a lot of power is to be had out of these compared to the MT-09. Now you might be asking yourself, why the change? If we've got an engine that's so tried, true and proven, why do we have to go over to the new engine? Well, the main thing that comes out of it, and the main two concerns that they had, was reliability and availability of parts. Now, whilst I firmly believe, and I've had very, very little problems with these engines, you know, I've never blown an engine with these. Yes, I have had gearbox problems, which we've developed and got on top of that, so we're not having gearbox problems anymore with these. But there are a lot of people who are having issues with it. And when it comes to fixing these engines, we are finding that parts are starting to get harder to get, especially the heads up the top. Now, whilst I can buy cases, I can buy gearbox parts, I can buy cranks, I can buy rods and pistons and all that type of stuff that we need to build these engines, the heads are the big problem. Now, usually to source a head, we're looking at second-hand heads, or we're getting them off other race cars. It's a gamble every time that we need to get those heads. We have spent heaps of money on heads to find that they don't perform at all. We've also got slapper heads that we've just chucked onto a car and gone, wow, this makes amazing horsepower. There's a lot of development that you need to do in there. So the engines do take a fair bit of involvement, and you've got to have the right engine builder and the right team behind you to be really up to date with these ones. Now, going over to the MT-09, a popular race engine, especially in the legend cars as well. Now, they're really getting strict on these engines. With these, we're allowed to build them. We have freedom to build them as long as they're in the set rules that they give us. Coming over to the MT-09, they're going back to how it used to be. There is one engine builder, he builds the engines, you get what you get given. And that way they want to try and equalize the field as much as possible. The benefit with those MT-09s is they've had a lot of development with the Legend Car series as well. So they're hoping that they're going to come over and then really be a solve-all solution from there. Now, with an engine that is so much more powerful than the MT-09, the first thing you might think is, if you're going to go race it, you're obviously going to get the most competitive engine you can get. Everyone wants the best go-fast bits when it comes down to this, and that is correct. We are choosing to stay with these engines for a little bit longer because we've invested a lot of time and money into them. We want to see the end of our investment. So what they're doing is they're actually putting restrictors into the restriction of the air intake system. So it's going to be harder for it to breathe. So there's a lot more air that needs to be sucked in to get around the restrictions. And they have these classic restrictors here. Here's some old ones that I pulled out. They're just a little pill. And that pill sits into the air intake system there. So as you can see, that's about 8 millimeters. That restricts the airflow a lot on that. Now, if they're not happy with the parity, they're going to restrict it again by making the restrictors even bigger. There's even talks of having the hole as well, a machinable tube that goes into the hole of the intake to really make it a lot smaller for the intake as well. You can't get air and fuel in, you can't make that power. So that's what they're hoping to do to really make it on par with the MT-09, slow these guys up as much as possible. Other things they're doing in the parity difference of it, now the MT-09s have an advantage of around 30 kilograms, 35 kilograms in engine weight. So they're allowing those cars to run 35 kilos lighter in comparison to these big boys here. They are a big slug of an engine, but they do make the power. So with the air taking restriction and with the more weight penalty, will we see advantages or disadvantages? Time will tell. We have to go to the track, we have to be lined up on the grid, and we have to really make that decision when we've got everyone around us. Now the benefit is I finally got to drive an MT-09 the other day, where TFH and Aussie Racing Cars were very nice to invite us down to really give it a go and see what the differences are with them. And there's a few things that really did stand out. Now, first and foremost, that the driving of them, actually racing them around the track, they were quite fun. You know, I did enjoy being into it. The extra gear wasn't massively noticeable. You had to change your driving style a bit, but nothing so crazy that it felt like a totally different car. With less weight on the front axle, we found it was actually easier to steer in comparison to these ones as well. So I wasn't getting much of a workout compared to these old engines. So that did make a big difference from them. Torque coming out of the corners as well, especially the tight zippy corners, they ripped out the corners, but they do change the gear ratio as well. They have been playing around with the diff ratio, the final drive, to see where they come into. So there's a bit of torque and where that's going to land there as well. The things I didn't like about them though was one, the clutch, and two, the top end performance. Now the clutch on those MT-09s, there's no way of putting it, they were horrible. I can't put it any other way. So much so that they're now changing to rolling starts for all the future races. So you're going to lose all the grid starts, and I believe that's a Motorsport Australia directive for the support categories. They want to see everyone doing rolling starts because it takes less time to set the cars up and then take off. So we are losing something but gaining something at the same time. It's going to be interesting to see how it goes as well. The other really thing I didn't like about it was the top end performance. Now, top end, it just felt like it was just pushing way too much going down the straight. It just felt like someone attached a trailer to them and I couldn't push the cars any further. So that was a bit of a concern there. Are we going to see it where going to our first round at Bathurst, will these reign supreme because they can pull through the top end, or will we see the MT-09s? It's a case of much and muchness. I would imagine that these will be really good at the fast tracks, so the long straights, and the MT-09s will be good at the tight and twisty tracks. So something that's half and half, we might see some really good battles between the engines. So all in all, what do I personally think? Now, if these had been left standard last year and they had brought the cheating engines back to where they should be in the rules and regs, which we've always run a legal engine, then we can fully understand now why we haven't been able to catch some of the people up the front, not all of them, but some of them. It would have been a quick swap. We would have been all over to the new MT-09 and we wouldn't have even thought about it. And that's exactly what the Legend Car guys have done. They've had an air-cooled engine with standard pistons and everything like that. That's what they've had to run. It's easy to swap over to something more reliable, especially because these do get a bit of heat soak. The Legend Car air-cooled ones do get a massive amount of heat soak as well, so that's where they fall off at the end of the race. People were finding better performance at the end of the races from there as well. But now we have an engine that is so much more powerful that we're trying to bring back. It's going to take a bit of time for people to do the full conversion, and there are some people out there that don't want to make the jump. They kind of want to wait for everyone else to experience any faults or any problems. There's no doubt that we did have issues. I had to push the car back into the pits at the last test day as well because it kept blowing oil lines off. I think they've got to the bottom of that. We don't know yet. We don't know if they're going to be blowing gearboxes. We don't know if they're going to be blowing clutches out of them as well, because we're hearing that is a common fault that's happening with them as well. We don't know if they're going to be having problems with pistons and rods and all that type of stuff, because we are hearing that overseas. We're not hearing it here yet. So we could see how it goes, but we've got an engine that we know quite well in comparison to an engine we don't know a lot about yet. We kind of want to run our product and see if we can be competitive. If we can't be competitive, then we're going to make the move to go over there. So I hope in this video there was enough information to come through of the why, what's, when, and the comparables from there as well. I'm sure we could talk for absolute hours of the intricacies and the ins and outs and all those type of stuff that go into it, but at the end of the day, I am very appreciative and looking forward to the future of what the MT-09 is going to deliver for our class. We are a class that's already been going for plus 25 years. We wanted to go for another 25 years and go as long as possible. And I believe wholly and solely this is the solution to going forward as well. But what's going to happen in that meantime? Our team's going to get sucked into that and have to spend a lot of money developing a new engine. Is it going to go the other way, where these just become so prehistoric that they're not even competitive anymore, or they're so restricted that you wouldn't even bother with them? We don't know yet. No one knows until we go out and do our first practice or qualifying session from there. So I'm Cody McKay. I hope you really enjoyed that video. If you've got any questions, please drop them below. We've got heaps of stuff to talk about. There's a big season coming ahead, and I want to keep you guys as informed as possible. Thanks, guys.